Hi guys, this is Simeon from Swedish Homestead. As you can see, I'm inside of our greenhouse. I want to give you an update on how it's going and growing in here. And I want to share with you guys how we prune our tomato plants, what we attempt to do with them, and how much we water them. So as you can see, the tomato plants have grown a lot since you guys saw this greenhouse the last time. I shared with you that we have these ropes here that we connect to a wire up on the top of the greenhouse, and this is really the best and most efficient way to use your space in the greenhouse, because ground space is very limited, but you have all this height, and this is how professionals grow their tomato plants. Now, a tomato plant in and out of itself does not just want to grow up, but it will grow to the sides as well. You can see here on this plant, for example, that it has one main stem and then just branches off the left and right with the flowers here. And you know, the reason it grows like that is because we have pruned it accordingly. Otherwise, with every branch that goes left and right here, the tomato plant is gonna start a new main leader, so that it branches out, and then you got these this huge plant that's gonna be heavy and break and tip over and grow to the sides and all of that. I can show you here where we did a wrong pruning in a second. So this way here we actually did a wrong pruning as well. You can see this here is a stem that I'm gonna break off now. Now, by pruning these tomato plants like this, like I said, we encourage growth up. And here you can see now the perfect example. This is actually the leader that's supposed to grow up all the way. Here are some flowers, and in between this fruit-bearing branch and the tip, you have these branches come out. You need to take those away and prune them out. And here you see we missed one. This is a normal branch. This is the tip that's supposed to grow up, and it brought out a new one of these that will also grow to try to be another leader. So I actually don't know if it's called leader or not, but probably not. And here you see we also missed this when we pruned this, so I have to tear this off because this is gonna try to develop into a whole nother plant to the left here. And this is really important because then you can just wind it up around the rope and really make the plant as space efficient as possible. And it's like I said, you have a fruit-bearing branch here, have one here, the next one here, and it's really gonna go up. So this plant was actually poorly pruned. I just trimmed off 3 branches off of this one. So you can see the growth has been really good in here. The plants are growing like weeds. Some behind me, you see, are lower than others. That's because we planted them a little bit at different times, but also different varieties. Some grow taller than others. This variety is personally my very favorite. It's a black sweet cherry tomato. Tomato. I should say both so nobody gets offended. It's really, really delicious. And it grows like a weed. So you want those kind of plants that grow like a weed. Just to give you a quick reminder of how we planted these. This is here, what you see are the remains of the deep bedding that the chickens went on. It's extremely dry, which is awesome because we haven't had any condensation in this greenhouse. Nothing. It is completely dry here. It's a cloudy day today, so the sun hasn't warmed this up yet. It's only 15 degrees in here. There's no condensation. We have the doors open for ventilation when it gets hot and 2 small windows above the door. But this stuff has just kept it extremely dry. But at the same time, if you go look here now, it's right away moist here. Extremely moist. So we planted these in the ground. With each plant we put a shovel of compost manure mixture, and then we covered everything in this deep bedding from the chickens. The last years what we have been doing is planting them in beds that were raised about this high. We had to water, and then that's a really bad thing, because the more you water, the more you have to water, because the plants get used to it. They only develop shallow roots in a clump. They want all that water, and as a byproduct, we actually had fruit that didn't ripen because the plant was just thriving on all the water. We watered every day. So this year I just wanted to do it differently. We planted it in the ground where the moisture remains more. We covered it with a thick layer of this deep bedding to keep the moisture in. And we have only watered twice since we have planted. We watered when planting, and we've watered twice since then. One time we forgot to open the doors on a hot day. It was 45 degrees Celsius in here, and the plants looked really sad. We lost a couple plants that day. You need to be on top of your game here if you have to open these doors by yourself and you don't have an automatic system. But then we watered. So what we want to do is water very rarely but very intensely. So we dumped about 10 liters of water to each plant every time we watered. Now in this greenhouse, that made it 1.5 cubic meters of water every time that we got from the lake. So that, what would that be, maybe 350 gallons of water each time into this greenhouse. And as you can see, it has now been probably a week since we watered last, and it's really moist and wet down here still. And the reason why we want to do that is because we want to encourage the plant to build as many roots by itself as possible deep down, so that we don't have to water as much and create an unnatural environment for the tomato plant. The moisture is deep down. If we water heavily, the water sinks down, dries off at the top first, but remains in the bottom. The tomato plant grows roots deep into the ground. Has worked great. Even in warmer days, you don't see signs of too little moisture on these. And as soon as we do, we give it another round of heavy watering here. Now, we'll have to look at this now in the later in the season to see how the fruit does. Like I said, last year it didn't ripen because we were just watering, and it was hard to stop watering because all the roots were so shallow. But it's going to be really interesting to see if this fruit will turn red quicker. We had tons of fruit last year, but it ripened so late. So we'll see about that. But so far I'm really excited. Now, the key for this, I just want to say this again, I believe is that we cover the ground here to keep the moisture in. I would just really highly recommend to you guys that wherever you are growing stuff, to cover the ground. It is so healthy. You know, and if you have a good cover, if you look at this now, this here is completely moist. I can make a ball almost of the soil. There's now a bunch of wood chips in here, but it is so moist here that it stays together. And we haven't watered for over a week, and in here it has been temperatures like in Spain. So really, really amazing. In whatever climate you are, I would recommend to cover the ground. You suppress the weeds and you keep the moisture in the ground. This wouldn't have worked so far without us having covered this so deeply. So that's basically how we grow tomato plants. Back here you see the cucumber plants that we planted. They are also starting to grow real well. I'm soon going to take down these ropes and let them climb up there as well. We grow those vertically as well. And then here, you can't see that on the camera now, but there are some jalapeno and bell pepper plants that are growing a little slower as usual. But this is basically it. This is how we do it with watering and with growing the tomatoes. And so far I'm really happy. We're a bit late. We could be about 3-4 weeks ahead had we planted all of this earlier. But it was just cold, 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 and then it got warm and everything exploded, and like usual, all the farm work needs to be done at the same time. We have a bunch of flowers already and a bunch of fruit, and that's really exciting. So thanks for watching, guys. It is Swedish midsummer celebration today. to all the Swedish people. Hope you enjoy that. Have a good time. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.